Thank you everyone for being here. We are going to start with a board member from Holyoke Media, Carrie.
Thank you. Good afternoon, good evening, panel, candidates, and audience. My name is Carrie Baker. I am the board clerk for Holyoke Media. And just want to talk a little bit about Holyoke Media. Holyoke Media is a nonprofit public access TV and community organization in Holyoke. Our mission is we empower and encourage open exchange of ideas, information, and culture in Holyoke. We support the community by providing video production access and training, broadcasting government meetings, covering local news and events. Our free membership includes studio equipment access, production help, volunteer options, eligibility to vote and serve on the board, free studio use for members producing shareable content, if you would like to join Holyoke Media, it's free. Just go to holyokemedia.org. And now for some safety and studio information. By attending, you consent to possible recording broadcast. Main entrance exit is via the ramp and over here. Please do not stand on the ramp. We like to keep control of the room door area clear, so that's the door right back here. We like to keep it clear. Exits, all exits are marked with green signs. This one right here, that's not an exit. It's just pointing to go to that exit over there. Restrooms are in the lobby. And I would like to welcome the bilingual candidate forum for City Council candidates at large. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Welcome to our forum. Good evening. My name is Nayroby Rosa, Director of Community Engagement and Resident Services of OneHolyoke. Thank you for coming to our bilingual forum for City Council at large candidates running in the City of Holyoke. Before introducing the candidates, we have to explain the process and the rules. First, so that the forum flows and we have an opportunity to finish, we ask that you do not applaud until the end of the event. Candidates will be seated in random order. The order for questions and opening and closing remarks will be completely random. For each question, along with opening and closing remarks, a random order has been generated. Candidates will draw numbers that will determine their position in the order. Candidates will be asked 2 questions from a list that was sent to them, and a third surprise question which they have not seen. Each candidate has been randomly assigned one of 2 surprise questions. We ask the candidates to answer the questions without referring to another particular candidate. This is an informative forum, not a debate. Tonight, we have the honor of having interpreters present who will interpret the answers of each candidate. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for each question, and simultaneous interpretation will be taking place. Each interpreter will be randomly assigned to a candidate. We ask the candidates to please speak slowly and clearly so that the interpreters can interpret efficiently. We will be sharing the event via Holyoke Media's YouTube channel, Cable Channel 15, and on other social networks when the event concludes. We have Georgie Brown, Community Engagement Fellow of OneHolyoke, and Linda Pratt, Community Volunteer, who will be keeping time. They will show you when your time is up and give you the timing that you will receive. We also want to thank Holyoke Media for recording and sound. We ask that you please silence your cell phones. The candidates now will have 1.5 minutes for their opening remarks. And we'll be starting with candidate for City Councilor at Large, Jennifer Keitt.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see you. I'm glad everybody came out tonight. So I was born and raised here in Holyoke. I am a proud product of the Holyoke Public Schools. I attended Metcalf, Lawrence, Peck, and Holyoke High School. And like most Holyokers, I went on to Holyoke Community College and Westfield State, where I earned my bachelor's degree in political science. I'm also a married mother of 3, all of whom are students graduated from the Holyoke Public School systems. I live in the Ingleside neighborhood of Ward 2. My household is multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-generational, and neurodiverse. So I cross a lot of different intersections. I've lived in 6 of our 7 wards. I'm familiar with the different neighborhoods. I have deep roots here in the city. My grandparents planted here, and they raised their 12 children. I chose to stay and raised my children. With over 20 years experience in the legal field and as a former union steward, having also worked in City Hall, I have a reputation for analyzing complex issues and collaborating to find solutions. So I'm running to restore accountability, strengthen community trust, and bring common sense leadership to our government. Thank you.
Thank you. In second position, Kevin Jourdain.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having this event this evening. My name is Kevin Jourdain, and I am an independent voice and the most senior member of the Holyoke City Council. I've been a councilor for nearly 30 years and was formerly the president of the City Council for 6 years. I've worked very hard for very little pay because I want to give back to Holyoke, my lifelong home, where I grew up and raised my family. Holyokers deserve qualified city councilors. As Holyoke's fiscal watchdog, I am a very effective counselor and understand municipal finance. I'm an attorney and a finance professional. I hold a bachelor's degree in political science and economics, a master of business administration, and a Juris Doctor degree. Common sense is my message, keeping Holyoke affordable for our seniors and working families. I am very dismayed by watching the amount of taxes that have increased over the last 4 years, more than have been increased over the prior 10 years. I fought hard to have High Street repaved and to put ShotSpotter in to catch criminals and protect residents. I am strongly endorsed by our Holyoke police officers, and I stop bad ideas like trying to give the city council and the mayor a 30 to 40% pay raise right before the election, while also supporting important projects like making sure the Holyoke Peck Middle School was built on budget and without a tax increase. I get the job done. Thank you.
Thank you. In third position, Howard Greaney.
Thanks, Holyoke Media, for putting this on. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Howard B. Greaney, Jr. Live in Hillside Avenue, Ward 6, for the majority of my life. I grew up in Ward 7 on St. James Avenue. Graduated from Holyoke High School, 61, Holyoke Community College, 1963. Entered the United States Marine Corps, served in the United States Marine Corps. When I left the Marine Corps, I enrolled at American International College, where I received my bachelor's degree and became a teacher in the Holyoke Public Schools in 1968, where I taught school for 35 years. I was a very important supporter of the bilingual education program in Holyoke, which really started when I was at Lawrence Junior High School. It was a junior high school at the time. And we worked very hard to accommodate many of our Spanish-speaking students who had no other place to go. This was prior to the bilingual education. After that, I went to Holyoke High School and served at Holyoke High School for 20 years as the English department head at Holyoke High School. I also have had 3 businesses, 3 Subway stores that I held as the president, the vice president, and that's about it as far as I'm going.
Thank you.
Seconds are up, I guess.
Fourth position, Tessa Murphy-Romboletti.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tessa Murphy-Romboletti, and I currently serve as an at-large city councilor and the city council president. I'm proud to be running for re-election for a third term to continue the work of moving Holyoke forward. When I first ran for office, I wanted to make our local government more responsive, more efficient, and more connected to the people it serves. As council president, I've worked hard to modernize and restructure how we operate, bringing more civility, transparency, and accountability to the council chambers. I believe residents deserve a government that listens, adapts, and delivers results. Professionally, I've spent my career helping small businesses launch. I run an entrepreneurship program that supports local business owners in our area every day, and that perspective has deeply informed my work on the council. I know the challenges that our small business community faces, and I know the potential that exists when we support them. Growing Holyoke's economy means investing in our people, our entrepreneurs, and our neighborhoods. As an at-large councilor, I've made it a priority to show up, not just during election season, but in every corner of the city for every resident who reaches out. I live in Ward 1, I've worked downtown, and I've committed my life to this community. At the end of the day, I believe progress happens when we find our common ground. I'm not interested in political drama or division, though it does happen. I'm focused on problem solving, collaboration, and actually getting results. That's what I've done, and that's what I'll continue to do on the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. In fifth position, Christopher Dunay.
Thank you. Dunay. Hi, everyone. I'm Christopher Dunay. My friends call me Chris. Now, if you're looking for a reason to vote for me, I sit on the Holyoke Local Cultural Council, and I'm trained as a physicist and technologist. I work at the United States Patent and Trademark Office as a primary patent examiner. In a previous life, I served on the Community Service Board of Alexandria, Virginia, where I did mental health, intellectual disability, and substance abuse programming, as well as served as that board's representative to the Public Health Advisory Commission. But I really don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about the fact that so many Holyokers are struggling, and that you're not just living paycheck to paycheck, you're one emergency away from ruin. And yet our property tax levy has moved faster than the Social Security COLA and median salary increases. Look, we're going to hear rehearsed answers tonight. Most of these questions will come to you in advance prepared. And the real questions that we need to talk about is, when do you start cutting your pills in half? When do you start skipping meals? When do you cancel birthdays and Christmases? We've been operating on hope too long, and hope is not a plan. I'm the only candidate today that has come out with a theory, an idea, something to break this increasing property tax levy. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I'm the only one today that's come up with something that can break this, to give a property tax cut to most Holyokers, 80 to 90%, while getting rid of blight and improving our city services. So by the end of the night, I'll be asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. In sixth position, Patricia Devine.
Buenos noches and good evening to this bilingual forum. I'd like to thank Holyoke, OneHolyoke, for having us here today. Many of you know me as Patty Devine. I'm 74 years old, but I'm a very young 74. I first became a city councilor in 1990, and I kept that position for 10 years, 4 of which were unopposed. Then I took a little break, about 6 years, and I decided to come back as a city councilor at large, and I was fortunate to win a spot on the city council. Again, I stayed for 6 years, and then work and other commitments kind of kept me from being a city councilor full-time. I worked as a union business agent for 12 years for the Office and Professional Employees Union, Local 6 out of Boston. During that time, I was fortunate enough to be appointed as a fire commissioner and also as a DPW commissioner, both of which I loved dearly. I've been appointed to the Finance Committee. I'm the chair of that, and I take that very seriously because I think we have to watch our finances and do what's best for the city of Holyoke. Thank you.
Thank you. In seventh position, Israel Rivera.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you. First, I want to say thank you to OneHolyoke CDC and Holyoke Media for hosting this. And the next thing I wanted to say thank you to the constituents. It's been an awesome almost 4 years. I've learned a lot, and I've learned to grow in this process as an adult and as an elected official. So I appreciate the ones that have voted for me in the past and the ones that haven't, hopefully you can vote for me this time around. So to begin, I am a graduate of the Holyoke Public Schools. I've graduated from Holyoke Community College. I went to University of Massachusetts. I'm currently a student at Westfield State University, and I'm working on getting my MPA. I should be graduating in spring of 2026, this upcoming season. My focus there, for the most part, which will be on my capstone, is working on developing a way of collaboration between the municipalities and local nonprofits that are service providers within the community that are dealing with people that are coming in and out of prison for the most part. And especially for us in a community that we are facing a lot of different issues around substance abuse, mental health issues, and homelessness. I think for us, it's important to try to take this holistic approach around public safety versus painting everyone as a criminal and trying to take everyone down. For me, it's a different experience, and I want to make sure that it's important that we are taking a strategic approach and doing this moving forward. So thank you, and hopefully I'll be able to get your vote for November 4th.
Thank you. In eighth position, Mimi Panitch.
First of all, thank you, everybody, and thank you to OneHolyoke CDC for holding this forum. And education for our voters is so important, and you're among the very few entities that are really taking it seriously, so thank you. That said, my name is Mimi Panitch. I am a lawyer and a longtime Holyoker. I've been chair of the planning board for the last few years and on the planning board for some 15. And I'm going to take a little different tack from my colleagues here tonight. I'm running because I looked at the issues, and I've been watching them over the past year, and I feel like democracy is really on the ballot in Holyoke this year. Part of this is a result of the finance situation you've been reading about. The changes that I believe are needed to get our fiscal house in order and understand even how much money we actually have are being held up because of charter changes that would change the vote to change an ordinance permanently to 9 votes out of 13. And the other thing is the ICE situation. I feel like if the right counsel is not in place, that resolution is coming back and we are inviting ICE in. It is a disaster for public safety. And those two things, there are a bunch of other. Right, stop.
Thank you. Sorry, Mimi. And in ninth position, Michael Sullivan.
Okay, thank you, Mike Sullivan here. They always save the best for last, I guess. I also am a proud graduate of the Holyoke school system. I attended Kirtland School for grammar school, Lynch Junior High, and Holyoke High. After high school, I served 6 years in the Mass Air National Guard out in Westfield with an honorable discharge, and then attended Bentley College for 4 years, and ended up graduating, though, from UMass University without walls later in my career. I'm still hoping, I'm halfway through my master's degree in architectural preservation and design, hoping to get back at that soon. This is finishing my 4th term on the city council, where I've been on the finance committee all 8 years, development and government relations, and the last 2 years I've been on the Holyoke Economic Development and Industrial Corporation. I've also served on the mayor's ad hoc committee for the wastewater treatment contract. This is a new contract for the city. The old one expired after 20 years. It's a 10-year, $80 million contract, and it's vital to the city's future. And more about that later. We're hoping to use this to turn Holyoke into a true eco-factory. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to transition to the questions. In first position, the first question will be asked to Howard Greaney. Howard, how will you balance the needs of all neighborhoods while making citywide policy decisions?
Well, the first thing that I will do, and as I have done as a city councilor, is if there's an issue in the ward and it's a serious issue, I always reach out to the ward councilor for their consultation, because basically they're the first line of defense for the people in their wards. and then proceed to solve whatever problem it is. I basically am a listener. I like to listen to what people have to say before I make a decision. And many times there are many different opinions as to how the solution of the problem should happen. And so by listening to more people and the different people in the different, because also different wards have different sections as well. And I like to listen to a cross-section of people to see where the issues are, what I can do to help as an at-large counselor. As far as the entire city is concerned, I work very hard, and I get back to people when they call me from different wards, and I do whatever I can to help with that particular situation. It is a time-consuming task, but I like one-on-one, I like person-to-person conversation. I would prefer that to the phone call, and if at all possible, I will go and meet with the constituent to see what the problem is and how they would like me to solve it. It's a time-consuming way to do things. It's not email or telephone. It's on person-to-person discussion, talking to see what's going on in the neighborhoods. As far as the ward councilors are concerned, I always ask for their input to supplement whatever decisions might be made to handle the problems in the ward. And I work to make this city a better city for everybody in the city, and I will do so if reelected. Thank you.
Thank you. In second position for this question is Christopher Dunay.
Hello, everyone.
Christopher, would you like me to repeat the question?
Sure, why not?
How will you balance the needs of all neighborhoods while making citywide policy decisions?
So I had a great conversation with Kevin Jourdain Wednesday night, and we were talking about one of the core principles of our republic is local sovereignty, is that there is a great deal of power that is given to local governments. But I think where we didn't go in that conversation is that I think that extends down to the ward level. I think ward sovereignty matters. And for example, we're talking about the Elmwood Forest issue. Ward 3 does not want this project. So I'm gonna respect the wants of that ward and say no to that problem. And that goes for any ward. If one ward doesn't want something, then why would I sacrifice that ward for the sake of another? So that's my first value that's really important to me. I also think we need to break bread more. One of the first things I would do once you elected me is I would meet with every ward councilor first. I would bring them to Monsoon Bistro, we'd get soup dumplings, and I would really develop that relationship. I think we're at a point right now in City Council that we've begun to dehumanize each other and not see each other anymore, and we need to start doing more of that. Look, I am, one of my criticisms as a candidate is that I know the least about Holyoke out of anyone here. If you want an expert, vote for Patty or Kevin with 30 years experience of the city. But what I can say that I do bring is an understanding of people and relationships. And these are the things we need to heal in this city council if we're gonna make progress as a city. So that's really where I'm at, is ward sovereignty matters, relationships matters, and prioritizing the wants and needs of individual wards and not sacrificing one ward for another. So thank you.
Thank you. In fourth position is Kevin Jourdain. Kevin, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, not necessary. Thank you so much. I would say the first thing is the beauty of having done this for as long as I have is this is like family to me. This is what motivates and drives me to continue to do this. I feel like if I don't run, I'm letting people down. People have counted on me to be their advocate, to be their fighter. The issues change. The people that sit in these chairs you count on to be independent and competent. And so when we talk about balancing the needs of neighborhoods, you have to maintain that independence. How would you want to be treated if you're in that situation? This Elmwood Forest situation is a classic example. Who on earth would want to have all of your neighborhood destroyed because they want to put in this development that powerful people with a lot of money and a lot of connections are pushing? I will stand up for those things, just as I have for the last 30 years. I will always be on the side of the residents. I will always be on the side of the voters. There is nothing these people can do to me, give me whatever type of influence or to be their friend. I will always be on the side of the people that I represent. And the other thing is, I think of it as I want to make sure we also bring forward a citywide focus to a lot of these issues. We might not want to destroy, and I would hope we would not destroy the Elmwood Forest, but that development can go other places in the city. We're not saying no, we're saying no here, and we're saying yes over here. We also need planning where we actually have cognizant strategy in making decisions. And that's the type of thing, if we were to do that, we can have both neighborhoods protected and the city moving forward. I try to make those type of intelligent decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person in position is Jennifer Keitt. Jennifer, would you like me to repeat the question?
No need, thank you. Every neighborhood in Holyoke has its own character, history, and needs, but our city's success depends on lifting all of them together. I will balance neighborhood concerns with citywide priorities by actively listening, showing up, and making sure every voice is heard before decisions are made. Having worked inside City Hall, I know that policies only work when they reflect the people they impact. I'll hold regular office hours and bring conversations directly into our neighborhoods, from South Holyoke to the Highlands, from downtown to Springdale, so that residents can speak for themselves and not be spoken for. My goal is equity, not one size fits all. By understanding each ward's challenges and strengths, I can help craft policies that move the entire city forward while respecting what makes each neighborhood unique. Balancing neighborhood needs with the citywide decision starts with engagement, and I'll stay present in every ward, listening directly to residents and bringing their voices into City Hall, because good policy begins with real conversations.
Thank you. In fifth position, Patricia Devine. Patty, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I'm all set, thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Chris for the plug that he gave me. And one thing we did many
Patty, did you turn your mic on?
Sorry, I missed that. One thing we did as wards many years ago, each ward had a group, a committee, so to speak, and each of those groups had a chairwoman, chairman, and they would conduct meetings and invite, whether it was the mayor, the treasurer, whatever, to their meetings so that they could get to know about a particular person in City Hall. And then you could get all these wards together. And I think that's important as a city councilor at large, maybe to start that up again so that each ward is represented in that ward, and each ward elects their own chair. And then that chair can meet with the city councilors at large or vice versa. And I think that that will help a lot to come together. I think that'll help a lot when we have neighborhood meetings. We don't know everybody, obviously, in the neighborhood, but if we were to get to know a chair, we could use that chair to get in touch with the other people that they may be familiar with and have meetings such as that, which we used to do many years ago.
Thank you. Next is Michael Sullivan. Mike, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thanks, almost set. As a councilor at large, I enjoyed and had the opportunity many times to collaborate with the ward councilors. They all do a great job in their neighborhoods, and I'm always available anytime to help out with the local problems. But for myself, what I see is the biggest problem in this city right now that I'm tackling, right, is around the things nobody else wants to talk about. It's common for every ward. It's common throughout the whole city, no matter where you live. You need your toilets to flush. You need water. You need your sewers taken care of. You need gas and electric, right? And you need your streets plowed, you need good sidewalks. It's the infrastructure. This city's got a aging infrastructure that's really crumbling fast, and we're not keeping up with what needs to be done. This is where my focus has been over the years, and it's where it will continue to be, on the very basic needs of every ward across the whole geography of the city. So that's it.
Thank you. Next is Mimi Panitch. Mimi, would you like me to repeat the question?
Oh, I'm set, thank you. And I want to thank Councillor Sullivan for his remarks just now. He is absolutely right. And furthermore, he has raised a neat illustration of how you balance the needs. We all need our infrastructure to work. Infrastructure is the basis of civilization. And at the same time, Councillor Jourdain and others are right to be concerned about our rising tax levies. You have to be able to pay for things. You have to pay our people what they actually deserve, or they don't stay in office. We have to have these contracts in place. We need to accept grant funding when it comes in. And I think the best we can do is make sure that we have good information. We have to listen to people, as everybody around this table has pointed out so far. We have to make sure we can listen to them and that they're not put off from coming forward because they perceive a hostile city council or because there are linguistic issues. We need the information that everyone in this city has. And I think you balance issue by issue. We don't know what the issues are and who will be hurt the most and who needs the special help until we have collected the information we need on every specific issue. So that would be the way I tried to approach things. And beyond that, I'm going to give back that 30 seconds because anything else is too complicated.
Thank you. Next is Tessa Murphy-Romboletti. Tessa, would you like me to repeat the question?
That's all right. Thank you, though. So I really liked when I saw this question on the list because it's exactly why I ran at large. As elected officials in our community, we have the choice to run for a ward representation or at large. And I intentionally made the decision to run at large because I always felt like, on city council, the at-large representation wasn't always reflective of our actual community. And so when you look at the folks that, if you research the past 2 elections and you look at the results from the elections, I didn't just win because I did really well in 1 or 2 wards. I did well and I won because people from every ward voted for me. And that's what a city councilor at large should be doing. I've lived in wards 4, 6, 7. I recently purchased a condo in Ward 1. I've worked downtown for over a decade, and I know that there are unique challenges that face each ward. And as an at-large counselor, we are supposed to be looking at the bigger picture. We're supposed to work with ward counselors and consider the community as a whole when we're making decisions. And so, I think what I've done over the last 4 years is build trust with our community. And I think people vote for me because you may not always agree with the decisions I make, but I will call you back. I'll explain my reasoning behind the decision, and I'll continue to do what I can to support you. As an at-large counselor, you're not going to please everyone. There's simply no way. But at the end of the day, you have to go with your gut and what feels right for our community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, in 9th position, Israel Rivera. Israel, would you like me to repeat the question?
Sure, why not?
How will you balance the needs of all neighborhoods while making citywide policy decisions?
Thank you. So again, like my colleague, this is actually my favorite question of all the questions that were sent to us. For me, originally, I grew up in Ward 1. I grew up in the Flats. I'm also formerly incarcerated. So I feel like I represent a lot of different people that are afraid to either speak up or don't have the how do you say it, the language to come forward, right? and visit a city council meeting or even reach out and call someone or send an email. I'm about accessibility. On the city website, it's my personal phone number. It's not a Google number. It's not all these other numbers. You're calling Israel Rivera. You're not calling anybody else. And that's important to me because when I was coming out of prison and I was going through reentry services, the connection is important, and that's who helped me transform into the person that I've become today. So when I'm out there and I'm worrying about being accessible in the communities, a lot of these things are already happening in different wards. You just gotta get out there. And for me, because I'm a nonprofit baby, right? I've been going through the process, Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, different organizations. Where it's easy, you can just attend different events that are already happening in the community. OneHolyoke CDC does a lot of different events in the community, and La Familia, they do a lot of different events in the community. The YMCA does, the Boys and Girls Club. While you're attending these events, residents are coming up to you and explaining to you the issues that come up to them. And for me, one of the things that has been important for me to stand up to is bringing up the voice from those in the lower wards, because they don't necessarily vote, but they have a lot to say. And one of the things that they're screaming is, why is the all cannabis in only in our neighborhoods? They've been screaming that for the last several years now, and nobody's listening. So that's another thing that if we're listening, we got to hear that from the residents that are also part of the neighborhood overall. But I'm trying to connect with everybody. It's important for me to collaborate, and that is my task.
Thank you. Now we'll transition to the second question. In first position, answering will be Christopher. Christopher, how will you work to make city services more accessible to residents who speak languages other than English?
So, one of the things we need to think about is that there's a difference in this question between particularly Spanish and any other language. Look, we are 51 to 54% Hispanic, the vast majority of which, I think, like 95% are from the island of Puerto Rico, or have parents or grandparents from the island of Puerto Rico. 47% of those citizens speak Spanish, and then 12% of Holyoke households only speak Spanish. The fact that we don't already have a dual language government, forms, operations, blows my mind that we never got that done. Now, we have to be thoughtful about other languages in this. And so I want to look to cities like Portland, Oregon, or Burlington, Vermont, that have put in language access policies. Again, that would be something we'd have to hammer out in committee. But this is something that's been done before in other cities, where you can create equal access to government by, look, translation's not that hard anymore. A large language model can get that done efficiently for a form very cheaply. So I think it is far too late in history for us to be having this conversation. I think we should have gotten this done a very long time ago. So language access policy is what we need. I think long term, if my tax plan works out and we're in a budgetary position, I want a language officer, but I don't think we're financially at a point right now to execute on that plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Second, the same question to Kevin Jourdain. Kevin, would you like me to repeat the question?
Sure.
How will you work to make city services more accessible to residents who speak languages other than English?
Great. Thank you very much for that question. It's a great question. And I would start the answer by saying it's really who I am, is to make sure that we're inclusive of everyone. As an attorney, a vast number of my clients are Latino, and I have made it a really important priority to advocate on the behalf of their interests. Many times they feel locked out of the legal system, totally intimidated by the justice system. Mostly, in my case, I handle on the financial side, whether it's helping people to get relief from overburden and exploitation. I have really made it a point to advocate for people. And so when I think in that role as a city councilor, I learned early on it was really critically important to truly be an at-large council. You need to be around to everyone and to have people feel comfortable and accessible. And I think it's why I've been reelected so many times throughout and I've done really well in all the 7 wards of the city, is because of that. People feel I'm approachable and advocate on their behalf. The other thing that I've really found to be important is making sure that department heads are held accountable to making sure that we are being accessible to everyone, making sure things like I've advocated for sufficient number of E911 dispatchers that speak, both multiple languages, in particular Spanish, making sure that our government documents, way back when I first started on city council, making sure the ballots were in both languages. These type of things that were controversial then, which are not controversial today, and we would just assume, I have advocated for. The other thing I've advocated for is support in the schools, a great and strong new public library that was put that I helped to champion, making sure these type of resources are
Thank
out
you,
there.
Kevin.
Thank you.
Sorry, time's up.
Sure.
Howard, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, that's fine. I'm a strong supporter of bilingual education, have been all my life, and I think the most important place to begin bilingual education is with the youth. And I pioneered many times the bilingual program in Holyoke. For example, once the early Spanish residents came to Holyoke, a lot of the young people had a lot of difficulty. And what I did was I went to the Registry of Motor Vehicles and tried to get a translation of a book that would indicate how they could pass their driver's license test, because this was very important to young people in Holyoke. And it worked very well with the junior high school students who were looking for their driver's license. I've always supported the dual language program that's in Holyoke, which is a very successful program. And once again, it's for the youth. Always support the Holyoke Youth Baseball program. Baseball is a very important thing, especially for young men of Spanish descent, because baseball is a great thing for them to communicate and to find the right path in life. So I've also supported the Holyoke Boys Club in their efforts to once again support the youth, and the Boys and Girls Club, and always supported the library where education is taking place. These are all things that are very important. And when young people can communicate, they also have an opportunity to bring that language home to their parents, because many parents have also had difficulty communicating when they came to this country. And if the youth are competent in English and Spanish, they can help their parents along the way to also grow and learn and become much more happy members of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, Michael. Same question. Would you like me to repeat the question?
Nope, I'm fine, thanks. Myself, I think the city's doing a great job of making the city accessible for people who don't speak English. This forum itself, for example, is a sign of some of the progress the city's made over the years. All our council meetings have an interpreter, translator. All our voting ballots are dual language. What's really thrilled me over the years, and I've heard nothing but positive remarks about, is the dual language programs in our school system. And I'd like to see those expanded more. Myself, I've picked up some Spanish, mostly around the baseball fields and stuff. You might want to not hear some of it. But, the public schools, I think, is a place that really where we can put a little more effort, a little more emphasis on it, and not just on the Spanish languages. Also, there's other languages. I've traveled a lot. You go to countries like Switzerland, people are trilingual over there. I mean, it's amazing. And if anybody in the community has any ideas or knows of places or we could improve accessibility or has any ideas, I'd be glad to hear them and take action.
Thank you. Tessa, would you like me to repeat the question?
That's all right. Thank you. Thank you for asking the question. In my professional world, I was able to launch the first entirely Spanish language business accelerator program that is available in Western Mass, and I've seen how important it is for folks to be able to learn in their own native language or to be able to get engaged in the language that they're comfortable in. And so one of the first things I was told by our wonderful Spanish translators when I became city council president is, please speak slowly while you're up there at those meetings. And that is what I try to do as a council president. I think that's my responsibility. And of course, there's a lot of different ways to engage folks in the community, and that's what I've learned through my job. It's not just about making sure that the translation services are accessible, but it's that we're finding the folks who are not typically engaged in civic government, or they don't actually know what's happening at City Hall. And so it's important to partner with community organizations and cultural groups and neighborhood associations so that we are finding residents where they are. We're not expecting them to come to us and pay attention to city council meetings. Folks may not always understand how our decisions, the decisions that we make, impact them. So that's why it's important to be not just saying what we would do, but actually being in the community with the folks who don't necessarily speak English as their first language. It's also really important to promote simple, clear messaging, and I try to do that in my communications. I'm not just available via email. Folks have my cell phone number available in text messages, and that's what I've tried to do to make sure that everyone is included. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, Jennifer, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thank you. So making city services accessible to residents who speak other languages is essential to fair and effective government. I know that real accessibility requires effort. It requires policies, planning, and accountability. As Chris pointed out, we should have already done this. There's no reason why we're not already handling this. During my tenure at City Hall, this was a focus for me when we sent out any type of notifications to the public. I was often tasked with translating some of the documents porque yo hablo español. So making city services accessible to everybody should be paramount. As a counselor, I'll advocate for language access policies that require departments to provide translated materials. At this point, it's not an option. It should be standard practice, and it's not here in the city of Holyoke. Language should never be a barrier to participating in your community. When every resident can understand and be understood, Holyoke becomes stronger, we're more connected, and we're more equitable. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, Patricia.
Thank you.
Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I'm all set. Thank you. One of the things I did want to read on the question, though, was how will you work to make city services more accessible? If any of us have ever gone to Holyoke Medical Center and you have to go talk to somebody before you get your blood work or whatever, there's usually a sign there with so many different languages, whether it's Spanish, English, Chinese, whatever. I think we certainly need those in City Hall and in the annex so that people that don't speak English will know that that interpretation is available. It may not be available right there in City Hall, but we should have the ability to pick up the phone and call a translator so that that person can have effective, know what they're dealing with. I think too that our website should always be bilingual, and that, again, that sign that says Spanish, English, Chinese, whatever, should probably be on our website. And I think that's how we make city services available from City Hall. I know a lot of people in the City Hall, and if I think about all the different offices, there is Spanish-speaking people in those offices, so I think that's important too. And we just need to keep that flow going. We need to make sure that people aren't afraid to come into City Hall because they're afraid they can't speak the language. If we have enough signs up there, they'll know that this language is available very simply by going to an office, having them call an interpreter, and then that would take care of whatever business they had at City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person is Mimi. Would you like me to repeat the question?
Oh, I think I've got it. Thanks. So this is obviously something that we would all like to have 100% solved. We would like for this to be a world where there is a universal translator, the way there is on Star Trek, and you push a button and everyone in the room understands you clearly in their own language. Holyoke has been working on this. We obviously are not 100% there. And I understand that, in fact, some of the policies that you would expect, like making sure that there's somebody in every outward-facing office who speaks Spanish, have already been implemented. We need to strengthen those policies. I think we need to take advantage of the fact that large language models are getting better and better to be able to use machine translation. It is less clumsy than it used to be, and it's inexpensive, which is key. But also, I think we should be going out in the community and asking people, what do we need that is impeding you from accessing city services? Where are we really breaking down, and therefore where should we be focusing on our efforts? And it's easy to say, all right, let's make sure that every hiring decision, every listing for somebody who wants to join the city, there's an emphasis on, do you speak both languages? Can you handle a third language that is unusual, but as Patricia says, we do need to have the capacity there. But again, I think this is a problem that, given the fact that we don't have a universal amount of money, this is a critical problem. I don't mean to dismiss that. We need to go back and do the research and see where we need to intervene the most intensely first. And that's what I would do. I would start looking to who is struggling the most and getting that fixed in that order. Thank you.
Thank you. And next person is Israel. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thank you. So first thing I kind of wanted to point out, I believe Chris pointed out that there's about 51% Latino in Holyoke, right? If you look at who's running at large right now, how many of us make up that percentage? That's why I'm running. That's why I pulled papers a while ago. I'm in the community. I speak the language, not as good as they do, because they were raised in Puerto Rico. I was raised in Holyoke. But ultimately, the idea is they can come complain and say all the things that they want to say about Holyoke to me. And they do it all the time. They express it the way they want to express it, and they feel comfortable in expressing it that way. When I'm out in the community, usually on Main Street, where everyone's at, in and out, Racing Mart, Fiesta Cafe, and La Sede Familias, again, is another space where families are coming through. Different events hosted, like the community dinner in the flats. There's a lot of different things happening at Sullivan School and at different schools throughout the city that engages the public to come through, and you're able to communicate with them. But with regards to accessibility for language, right, there's two things too. One thing I want to point out, there's a growing Haitian population in Holyoke. We cannot forget about them, and we have to include them in this process. I'd have to put that out there. But the other piece is that the Holyoke Public Schools has been dealing with this issue for quite some time, and they haven't solved it yet, but they have a good solution with regards to having different people that are trained within their staff. My wife is a trained translator, but they also have a line that they call that allows for whomever, if it's a different language that we don't have access to, that they can call, and then it provides the translation there. So for me, it's us connecting with the school department to save some funds and maybe pay them a little bit more to make that happen. And the last piece is allowing people to freely speak their language in council public speaking.
Thank you. And so now we've come to the part where the candidates will be asked a third surprise question, which they have not seen. Each candidate has been randomly assigned one of two surprise questions. You all have been given the order. The third question will be asked first to Howard Greaney. Howard, give me a second while I get the question.
Give me a second while I get my thoughts together.
You'll be asked question A. Give an example of how you have worked with others whose opinions and views differ from yours.
Once again, I think that I am a real good communicator. Any literature that I put out, for instance, the circular, the flyer that is going out in the next couple of days to the citizens of Holyoke is in both English and Spanish. It's completely translated English and in Spanish because I want to reach everybody that's in the community. Once again, I have communicated with probably 3,000 students coming through the Holyoke Public Schools, many of whom are from different backgrounds, different creeds, different languages. And I've been able to take a group of 30 or 40 students in a classroom, put them together, and make it gel as one unit. So that experience is wonderful to be able to get people together to talk. If I go to the supermarket, if I go out in public, wherever I go, I will engage with anybody in the public. Sometimes I have difficulty if somebody is a Spanish speaker. However, I do know some of the language, some of the idioms, probably not a lot, but having taught school in the Holyoke Public Schools, you pick up things. Various idioms like siéntase or otra vez or different things like that to be able to communicate in a certain way. I also get out to the Holyoke Senior Center just about every day, and I mix with the people at the Holyoke Senior Center. I talk to them, many of whom are of Hispanic descent, many of them who are not. There are people of multiple backgrounds there, and I have an opportunity to communicate with them on a day-to-day basis. And some of those communications are very productive in seeing what the seniors want in the city of Holyoke. So I'm very active in the community. I do it on a day-to-day basis, and it's always a pleasure to go out and meet people. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard. Sorry, time's up. Second person is Mimi, and you've been picked for question B. What would you do as a counselor to help Holyoke attract and retain qualified municipal workers?
Okay, great question. One of the things that I would do is I would try to be realistic about the salary requirements. We underpay our workers, and we also, to a certain extent, unfortunately, treat professionals as though they were not professionals. You know, when I was working for a law firm, for instance, if I had a deal die and I wanted to take the afternoon off, nobody questioned it. If I had to be someplace else in the city, nobody questioned it. There was respect. And I think that we do not give that respect necessarily to the professionals at DPW, to those within OPED. I don't know why not, but we just don't. The other thing, one of the other things, is I would really try to get in and reform a lot of our special permitting. The ways in which we do business, they're not efficient, and they make for a bad working environment. They also are very bad for our ability to retain and attract businesses, but they're rotten for our workers too. And as a result, Holyoke just has a bad reputation on the street. You know, we have trouble poaching from other cities because Holyoke has a bad reputation as a place to work. And other cities easily poach from us for the same reason. Also, they can pay us, our people, more money. If we make the working conditions better, you know, the other thing that our employees say is that otherwise we're a great place to work because we have interesting problems and cool people to work with. And that means a lot. So, you know, I think it's a problem we can address, but we have to get realistic about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Michael, you're third, and you have been picked for question A. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yeah, please.
Give an example of how you have worked with others whose opinions and views differ from yours.
Well, I think that one's pretty obvious for me. 4 years ago, I ran for mayor against our current mayor and lost. And over the last 4 years, I've I've worked with Mayor Garcia on numerous projects, the biggest one being the one I mentioned earlier, the wastewater treatment contract. This contract is a lot more than just the treatment of wastewater. It's about stormwater separation, something we've seen time and time again. We've made headlines all across the country, even across the Northeast, with overflows of sewage into the Connecticut River. These are problems we've been working on together, collaborating, looking to do other things with the wastewater treatment plant beyond what anybody's seen, making Holyoke into a true eco-factory. The mayor was just receiving an award down in Boston from the Northeast Clean Energy Consortium. And the things we can do in the future here are just amazing. I'm looking forward to working on these things. As an example, we have excess capacity. It might not seem that way, but that's what the stormwater separation is about. The excess capacity, once you deal with separating the stormwater, the capacity we have is to attract new businesses to Holyoke to take advantage of the capacity we have to handle wastewater. These industries are in the food and beverage industry. They can employ hundreds of people, and they can add to our tax base, and adding to this tax base will lower it for the residential tax base. So these are the things I'm working on. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Tessa, and you also got question A. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Give an example of how you have worked with others whose opinions and views differ from yours.
It's a great question. Thank you. I feel like I try to live this every single day that I have been on the city council. And sometimes some days are harder than others. But overall, it reminds me a lot of when I was an intern in college and I worked for former Mayor Mike Sullivan. And he always said, Tess, there's no Democrat or Republican way to fix a pothole. And that's why I've always loved local government. It's why I haven't really set my sights any higher than local government. It's because that is, you know, we may disagree, but we're still going to see each other at Stop and Shop later. So we better respect each other. And, you know, at times it's hard. And you asked for a specific example, and I'd like to try and, you know, dig through a lot of the things that have happened over the last couple of years. But, you know, I think one of the things most recently that I've really tried to work with folks on is Municipal Modernization Finance Act, and just really trying to bring our financial structure into the 21st century and pass some common sense recommendations that have been given to us by the state for years. And this is a hot topic, and I recognize that, but what folks may not realize is that this has come after months and months of trying to work together with others. And I will always be the type of candidate that believes in compromise. I think that when you actually have progress, compromise means that you walk away from the table without getting every single thing that you wanted. And I don't think we have that enough in our national government. We are losing it on the local level. And so even folks will criticize me when I do try to compromise. And I'm not gonna be talked into being any different type of person, because that is the type of person that I am. And I think that's what real leadership is.
Thank you, Tessa.
Thank you.
Your time's up.
It's all good. Thanks.
Christopher, you actually got question B. Would you like me to repeat it?
Sure.
What would you do as a counselor to help Holyoke attract and retain qualified municipal workers?
I do it with my tax plan. Look, I think I've said before, I know the least about Holyoke compared to these experts on up here, but I am a physicist and a technologist and bring scientific and technological literacy to a city council that has none. And before I even ran in this race, I did a lot of math before I proposed this solution. My plan is a split rate tax plan in a 4-stage progression where I first prove it to you that I can do it with the study. I can give a tax cut to 80-90% of homeowners by only taxing you based on your land, shifting that burden onto blight and vacant lots, and then giving us a chance to create the revenue, because I'm shifting the tax burden. And what I believe is that if I can give a substantial tax cut to a majority of Holyoke residents, then you're going to say, let's do some Prop 2.5 overrides, hire more cops, improve fire, fix our broken water mains, fix our public schools. We just came out of receivership, and I'm not convinced we fixed that problem yet. So for the question of how to retain talent, look, Mimi has a point that we have a bad reputation, and we've become a proving ground for a lot of jobs. People start in Holyoke because we pay less, they get their experience, and they leave. We need to increase these salaries substantially, and we don't have the budget for it. The only solution I have been able to come from is a split rate tax, and to remove that burden off of homeowners, put it onto blight and vacant lots, and then give us a chance to increase our revenue. That's the only solution I've been able to come up with to solve those three problems. Otherwise, we're going to be in the same situation we've been for the next 20 years. Your property taxes are going to move faster than the Social Security COLA and median increases. We're never going to get to these budgetary concerns that we need to get to, and we're always going to have blight. And I am proposing a solution is the only thing I've been able to find in any economic theory and supported by 20th century thinkers. And so that's how I'd fix it. I would pay them more with my tax plan.
Thank you, Chris. And now, Israel Rivera, you've been picked for question A. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
Give an example of how you have worked with others whose opinions and views differ from yours.
As mentioned before, I think for me, it's important to have collaboration when we're working with Holyoke at the forefront, right? I currently work with a bunch of awesome colleagues. We don't always agree. There are times when I'm told to jump in a lake, but the next day I go back to work and it's professional as it can be, and we can go catch a ball game, and it's not a problem for me. I've grown past these levels of immature high school games. There are times where it's hard to control oneself, right? Because back and forths happen and indirects, and I'm being honest. I don't do the make pretend stuff. I have some notes, but I usually do it from the chest. I think there's a good situation, and just watch my ordinance meetings, and you see how I work in collaboration with people that don't necessarily agree with me all the time, and that's okay. We don't have to agree. This is government. That's the point. There are a lot of things that I actually agree with Councilor Jourdain on sometimes, and a lot of people look at me like, "What? Are you serious?" That's okay. Again, like Councilor Murphy-Romboletti said, that's what I believe. Nobody's going to reshape what I believe. It's important that when we work together in council chambers, that it's about the city, right? Sometimes there are personal things that go on, some things that are said online or in different places. I try to focus on what's happening within that moment, in that time frame. Easy for me to compartmentalize that because, again, I served some prison time, and that helped me work on compartmentalizing things. So when I walk into this space, I know what it is, I know what my job is, and it's important for me, if I'm working on modernization for the municipality stuff, there were some things that I did not agree on that I had to agree on to get to a certain point. And I'm going to end it there before they tell me to be quiet.
Thank you. Patty, you got question A as well. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
Give an example of how you have worked with others whose opinions and views differ from yours.
I think first of all, you have to, my father always said, count to 10 before you make a statement, before you let your anger get the best of you. So I think, and he used to say that he was so angry he could crush a grape. So you have to be careful that you don't get that angry. I think you have to certainly know the issues. You certainly have to respect the person that you're dealing with, and try to come to compromise. But both people have to try to come to compromise, not just you. And so I think we can do this. It's just a matter of knowing what you're talking about, knowing who you're talking to, and what their views are. And hopefully we can come to a solution where I was always taught when I was in the union that 1 plus 0 is 0, 1 plus 1 is 1. You want to get the 1 plus 0 is 1, so that at least somebody is getting 1. But it's hard to do that sometimes because people are, I hate to say pig-headed, but we all can be pig-headed. So we have to try to stop doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin, you got question B. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
What would you do as a counselor to help Holyoke attract and retain qualified municipal workers?
Great. Thank you for that great question. Both great questions, by the way. First portion of the answer is we need to get a radical increase in our local aid, because we are never going to generate enough on property taxes to tax these poor residents and businesses to death in order to solve the infrastructure and needs of this community. And that means to pay people the salaries they deserve, we need to be receiving the resources that Boston and the state are sitting on. While they're counting up the billions in their rainy funds, and who knows where all this money goes, and they waste it on all kinds of crazy priorities, like when they say we're only getting $1 million a year in road repair, but yet they'll tell us, oh, here's $7 for a rotary on Beach Street and West Franklin, whether you want it or not, but we can't give you the money that you need to actually pave the roads. Government is not functioning properly, and this is affecting workers. As a result, they're overpaying for their health insurance. They're way overpaying when it comes to the type of workplace safety that I've put a lot of focus on, and I've worked with my other colleagues on trying to make sure our employees are safe, that we're actually providing them the equipment and resources that they need. I have worked hard to do that. It's one of the reasons our police unions strongly support me, is because I also have their back when they're doing their jobs, a very hard job. They want to know the elected leadership actually supports the employees. We've got some contracts out there with teachers and DPW workers. These people deserve to have a living wage. They deserve to be compensated. And they also want to make sure we have high performance standards, that bad apples that are holding them back and giving them a bad name are held accountable. Those are the things we can do to retain good employees. Thank you.
Jennifer, you also got the same question. Would you like me to repeat it? What would you do as a counselor to help Holyoke attract and retain qualified municipal workers?
Being a former City Hall employee, I can tell you that the morale at City Hall is problematic. Our workers are not paid enough for their talents, and the amount of work that they're expected to do is unbelievable. Coming into City Hall, when you do join, there isn't any training. The budget is so thin that not only are we not able to pay them appropriately, we're not able to train them appropriately, we're not able to support them appropriately. So until we actually take a hard look at how we're treating people in City Hall, it's going to remain a problem. We had a lot of issues when I was there with the state of the building that we were in. I was moved three different times due to leaking, due to mold, due to air quality issues. So when you're not willing to pay people what they're worth, you're overloading them with the amount of work, and you're putting them sometimes in problematic office environments. That's just a recipe for disaster. So until we really sit down and have serious conversations, it just sits there. As a union steward, a lot of our arguments were, look at the work that we're doing. And that was why we argued so hard across the table for, acknowledgement of the additional hours outside of our salaried hours that we were working. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that people don't realize. And the people that work within those walls are just not appreciated enough. And until we fix that, nothing's going to change.
Thank you, Jennifer. Sorry, your time's up.
Thank you.
Now to conclude the forum, we will do closing remarks. And first person, Israel Rivera.
Thank you. Again, for those that don't know or need to know, my name is Rivera. I hope I can count on your vote for November 4th. I am a father of 3. I have one daughter here, Michaela Escalin, and I have 2 other ones in the back running around with my wife, Jenny Rivera, in the back over there with them. I appreciate them, and I thank them for helping me and allowing me to do some of this in the process. My kids go to the public school system and the Catholic school system. It's important for me that they're engaged in all the events in the community, because as they're engaging and learning what the city of Holyoke is, I'm learning what the city of Holyoke is getting, what are some needs and some necessities. As a president of the Holyoke Girls Softball Association here in Holyoke, as well as a coach, a trainer with softball, and coaching Holyoke Youth Girls Softball, Holyoke Safe Neighborhood Initiative. I've done a lot of different engagement work with youth and families within the city of Holyoke, and I think that giving me a shot to still be and serve within the city on the council is providing a voice and a perspective that's coming from a different place that for years the city has been yearning to hear more about. And I thank those that have voted for me in the past. I hope we all show up on November 4th. Please come out and vote, whether you vote for me or not.
Thank you. Michael?
Okay. Thank you. I'm not going to talk about myself. I'm going to talk about the voters of Holyoke. We really need to get the word out. The people that are listening to this now, the people that may look at the recordings of it, talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, talk to the other citizens of Holyoke. Our voter participation has been pathetic. And really, when you think about it, the only true threat to democracy is voter apathy. That's how I look at it. I see a lot of other things going on around the country. I see some of it spilling over here into Holyoke. But the importance of people exercising their right to vote can't be emphasized enough. I'd appreciate your vote, but I really want to see a large turnout. Whether I win or lose, that's fine. I just want to see a large turnout. I want to see a turnaround in the decline we've had in participation. And I'd really appreciate if everybody would get out there, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, talk to your relatives, and let's turn this around for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin?
Thank you. You know, as a poor kid who grew up, the son of a single mom, I am the most improbable of people to have ever had the opportunity to serve this community. I'm so blessed to have had that opportunity, however. My mother instilled with me an unbelievable commitment to education. That's why I went and got as many degrees as I did, and it all absolutely worked out for me. I've been blessed to have this amazing family and amazingly successful children, and I'm just so thankful to have the opportunity to give back to this city that's given me so much. I see this as an obligation that I have. To put myself out there. This is not easy. I have tremendous respect for all of these candidates that put your name on the line to go on the ballot. This is not easy. And I will just say, I could cite 30 years of accomplishments. I can't do that in a minute and a half, so I'm not even going to go there. But I will just say that I served with the same civic spirit that I did when I first ran, with the same youthful optimism that I always did, that we can make Holyoke a better place, and it's for that same reason that I once again ask for your vote on November 4th. I would be honored to have one of your votes for City Councilor at large. We can do this. We can build ourselves a great and strong community, and we can do it and make it an affordable place for people to live. Thank you.
Sorry, Kevin.
No problem.
Mimi?
Thank you again for organizing this forum. I'm going to reiterate what Councilor Sullivan just said. Nothing is more important than voter engagement and voter turnout. Having said that, I think Holyoke is at a crossroads. We have a lot of restructuring and re-examining to do. And from our tax structure to our need for investment from outside sources to things like the language issue. We've talked about a lot of fairly aspirational things tonight. I too would love it if we got our fair share of resources from Boston. I too would love it if there was a magic bullet for our tax issues. I don't think there is, because I don't think that Boston's laws allow for it. Okay.
We'll add 10 seconds to your time.
Having said that, I think we have to prepare for a universe where we have tough decisions to make. And I hope that when you vote, you will choose candidates who are able to make those tough decisions. And what has happened in the last 20 years has not been working for us. We need to consider changes to how we do business. And, you as voters have to choose who you trust to make those changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Howard?
Yes, thank you for the forum. Thanks everybody in the audience for coming out tonight. Thank everybody at home that's watching on TV. Once again, I've lived my entire life here in Holyoke. I raised 4 children here. I also have 4 grandchildren who, when they come back to Holyoke, they love the place the way I love it. So they have deep roots here. My issues are very simple. Treat everybody with respect. Treat everybody with dignity, because that's how people should be treated. I do everything that I vote for on the city council I believe is in the best interest of the city of Holyoke. With our financial difficulties and so on that are going on now, we need all the data that we can get to make sure that we have all the best answers to provide for the people of Holyoke. And we will wait till we get all that information before we make any decision to make a change. I believe all the data that you need to have to make a decision before you go ahead and jump and make a decision is very important. So that's why listening to the experts and providing the voters with your expertise and with feedback and listening to them is very important. So I would greatly appreciate your confidence in me to serve one more term on the city council. I'm number 9 on the ballot. And if you love Holyoke the way I love you, hopefully I can serve again. Thank you.
Thank you. Tessa.
Thank you very much. I'm running for re-election because I do believe in Holyoke, in our people, in our businesses, and all of our potential. Over the past few years, I've worked really hard to modernize our government, making it more transparent, more efficient, and ensuring that residents get the services and respect they deserve. I want to encourage everyone, like has been said before, please stay engaged. Watch the meetings. We can all say our talking points on this stage, but watch the meetings and see the actions of others. See how we treat each other. See how we come to an agreement on things. How do we get there? It's important to get your information directly from the source. There's a lot of noise out there, but our city is strongest when our residents work together and take the time to see for themselves what's really happening. Hold all of us accountable, including myself. I've always tried to lead with respect, collaboration, and a steady hand, bringing people together even when the respect is not given to me or others. And that's how we should keep making progress. I live here, I work here, I show up every day for this community, not just during election season, not when it's convenient, but every day. I would be honored to continue doing that for you, and I would appreciate your vote to keep finding common ground, support local growth, and build a city government that actually works for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer?
Well, I'm running for city council at large because I believe in local government that truly works for everyone. I know the systems, the people, and the challenges that hold us back, but more importantly, I know the potential that exists when we work together. I'm not here to play politics. I'm here to get things done with honesty, equity, and reliability. Those aren't just my campaign slogans. Those are what guide my daily decisions. Holyoke deserves leadership that listens, that acts with integrity, and delivers. Not just talks about change, but actually makes it happen. So on November 4th, as everybody else has said, you have the opportunity to choose who is going to represent you for the next 2 years. So I ask you for your vote and your trust to move Holyoke forward. And you can find more information at jenforholyoke.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christopher?
Sure. Let me apologize to Mimi for speaking out of turn. My apologies for interrupting you. I've spent hours and days looking into my policy proposal. It's not going to be easy. It needs to be first proven through a study. Then it needs to build political legitimacy through a referendum. And then we need a home rule petition and support from our state senator and representative. I'm not saying this will be easy. But at the end of the day, when we get this done, I can deliver a tax cut to 80 and 90% of Holyokers, put that burden onto blight and get rid of blight, and give us a chance to improve our city services. Look, I need Mimi Panitch. She is trained by one of the best law schools in the country and has an expertise in tax. And further, she is the chair of the planning board, which is a highly technical area of law. My plan leads to a renaissance in Holyoke because it penalizes blight for holding the land. And you'll have new construction in these plots, and I need the chair of the planning board in order to get this stuff right. But for the rest of your votes, I need bravery. I need to do something that a lot of cities are afraid to doing because it's politically difficult, because it's hard. So for the rest of your votes, I need Mimi, but I also need brave folks that want to bring us kicking and screaming into the 22nd century, because politics and government as usual will not work out. It is not an optimistic prognosis, my friends. If we stick to the tax rate that we've been sticking to, so many will end up in poverty in Holyoke, and I just can't stand around them.
Thank you, Chris. Sorry you're out of time. Patty?
Thank you, and thank you for keeping the best for last, like you did with Mike. I appreciate it very much. And I also wanted to thank OneHolyoke and all the people, Nayroby, everybody that got this set up, Holyoke Media. I know you've done it like every single day, which is nice, and the people in Holyoke need this. I will tell you one thing, you know, I was born in Newport, Rhode Island. My father was in the service, so we didn't come back here till like I was 4 years old. And it breaks my heart when I hear such negativity about Holyoke. So we need to change that attitude. I think, and we don't have a daily newspaper. We don't have a weekly newspaper like we used to, but we do have the Holyoke Sun. We do have Holyoke Media. So we need to put more things on that. We try to get the word out to the people. The city clerk's office does a great job in getting people registered to vote. I think that's important, but we need to be more positive. And I just, again, want to thank everybody for putting this together and for giving us the opportunity to speak our mind, so to speak. And I would respectfully ask for your vote on November 4th. I'm 8th on the ballot, unlike last year. Thank you.
Thank you. So this concludes our forum. We have some time in the studio to engage respectfully with candidates. Thank you to all who attended. You may applaud.